And welcome to another edition of Oxford News This Week. Students don't want your pity. Oxford Village January business, and strike they did. In sports, that and more on this special edition of Oxford News This Week. Back with you on Oxford News This Week. Madeline Johnson is tired of thoughts and prayers and wants to see action when it comes to gun control in Michigan. At a Wednesday press conference, a prayer vigil in Oxford as part of the 7 events held by leaders in the End Gun Violence Michigan Coalition across the state, the Oxford High School student recounted the events of November 30th, 2021, when her best friend Madison Baldwin was fatally shot by a fellow student who also used a gun that was again purchased by his father in the slaying. 3 other students who were killed in the shooting: Hannah St. Juliana, Tate Meir, and Justin Schilling. Johnson and the other Oxford students formed No Future Without Today in the wake of the tragedy. The student-led group focuses on pushing for the passage of state and federal laws that would lead to safer gun storage, universal background checks, and an assault weapons ban. Johnson was joined by fellow students, teachers, and supporters from Oxford who urged Michigan lawmakers Wednesday to pass a stalled gun reform legislation. In addition to the Oxford events that were held Wednesday, other events were held in Detroit, Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Lansing, Saginaw, Marquette. Several bills regarding the gun safety have died in committee in Michigan legislature since the Oxford shooting. But after the November election, Democrats now have a full control of the legislature for the first time in 40 years, renewing hope among advocates that lawmakers will pass gun control legislation. Johnson and the other speakers at the event asked lawmakers to quickly pass background checks for anyone attempting to purchase any firearm in the state, safer gun storage laws, and red flag laws that would allow courts to temporarily take away firearms from people deemed in a danger to themselves and others. We were there at the press conference. We dare putting something together. You'll see it here on OCTV and get some more information. Once again, this press conference just happening the other day. During the January meeting of the Oxford Village Council, 2 proposed ordinances were discussed concerning fire prevention and protection and the operation of mobile food establishments in the village. Fire Chief Matthew Majestic addressed several ordinance updates that the fire department would like to see completed, including the ability to compel compliance with an ordinance and the civil infractions for violations.
What we're looking for is a fire ordinance that will basically make things easier for us to make things safer within the village itself, right? We have, within the township, we have stuff already where we can step in and take care of business. Within the village, we just want to have the same abilities and same authority, and we don't want any issues or create business problems. We want to actually help the business owners and make things better for them from a safety standpoint, from our point of view as well. I'll make it right, I'll make it safe, and then we come back a week later and they didn't. Well, I'm going to do it, and we come back a week later and they didn't do it. We come back a month later, they still haven't done it, right? Without having something to then enforce upon them, what's going to make them do it?
The council is also working on an ordinance updates concerning the operation of food trucks in the village. This would ensure that safety and orderly operations are being handled properly, including insurance, location, service, and dining areas, display permits, and property owner permission. In addition, village manager Joe Medor commented that the dining establishments in the village have expressed concern about the possibility of the food trucks are infringing on area restaurants, specifically during local events.
The biggest issue I heard over the last 18 and 19, before the pandemic, which changed everything, and especially for the restaurants, there was always a lot of concern, blowback even, that these food trucks were going to come set up in the park or set up right here, right next to my business where I pay $10,000, $15,000 a year in taxes, and now they set up right outside my door and take my business. So if you were to allow it on some of those areas, the public areas, there'll be a price to pay one way or another. An upset business owners, building owners, the public loves them, they don't care, they do care less where they're at, right? But there's something to consider.
Councilperson Lori Bordeaux also agreed that the food trucks, while popular at some area events, should not be allowed to generate business at the expense of established local brick and mortar restaurants.
And I'd just like to be sensitive to our businesses. That's who we want to support at all times, and bringing outside businesses in. It brings people there in the first place, which is great. Hopefully they stay long enough for 2 meals and they go sit down, but
Village Attorney Bob Davis will be moving forward on these ordinance issues and reporting back to the council at their February meeting. The Village Council also received a resignation of council member Ashley Ross. Ross has been with the council and DDA board since back in 2020. She is vacating her position due to the family and job commitments that she now has. We wish her well in her new endeavors. NOHAS is seeking sponsors for the 2023 collection. NOHAS provides residents with safe, reliable, and environmentally responsible ways to dispose household hazardous waste. See, we have the attached flyer here, and application for sponsorship details. The deadline to apply for the sponsorship is February 3rd. Folks are also being asked to participate in an online survey that would help the Oxford Public Library evaluate its current offerings, such as programs, services, etc., and gain a better understanding of what the public wants and needs at their library. The survey takes about 9 minutes to complete. All responses are considered anonymous. Deadline to participate in the survey would be, of course, Tuesday, January 31st. Survey questions can be found at tinyurl.com/5N6NY4CZ. I'm sure it's right below my name right now if you want to take that survey. Oxford is honored to be selected as 94.7 WCSX's City of the Week. Earlier in the week, WCSX's Joel, the party dude, Morgan, who I actually know because I actually worked at CSX, visited Sick Pizza Company in downtown Oxford to snap a few photos, hand out some certificates, and chat with the local folks, including Sick Pizza owner Scott Taylor. Oxford Township Supervisor Jack Curtis was there, DDA Director Kelly Westbrook, DDA Project and Media Coordinator Kimberly Smith, and CJ Carnacchio snapped a lot of pictures there, the Communications and Grants Manager. During Morgan's visit, Supervisor Curtis and Director Westbrook donned aprons and were able to make some pizzas. Oh yeah, I'm sure they were great. And it's that time of year when the Daddy-Daughter Dance returns. There's still time to register. The Daddy-Daughter Dance on Saturday, coming up on February 4th. That'll be at Boulder Point Golf Club. There are 2 slots are available. You can go to the 4 to 6 p.m. Time frame, or even the later time frame, 7 to 9. Tickets are $16 per person for the Oxford residents, $18 for non-residents. Again, space is limited and it does fill up quite fast. Advanced registration is required. Again, we have another flyer here we're going to display. You can register for the Daddy-Daughter Dance at oxfordparkrec.org. Again, it's a fun time had by all that attend. You want to get in there and make sure you register. With that, I'm going to be back in a few minutes. We'll have sports. Dave Kenny's got a few segments. Again, you are watching this week's edition of Oxford News This Week.
When the world's endangered animals need help most, when their lives are at greatest risk, when they would otherwise be lost, the International Fund for Animal Welfare is there, taking action to rescue the animals we love, to protect them and their threatened natural habitats. But the danger to animals the world over is growing, and the need for your help has never been more urgent. On land, you'll help stop poachers from threatening and killing elephants and big cats for the illegal wildlife trade. In the oceans, you'll help rescue dolphins, whales, and seals from deadly hazards. And you'll help rescue, rehabilitate, and release vulnerable animals when disasters strike. Here at home and around the world, we can't do this work without you. See how you can help animals and people thrive together at joinifall.org.
The day that JD was injured, I had woke up to an odd phone call. It was the military calling to tell me that he had stepped on an IED.
My role in the Army was I was an infantry scout. I was a squad leader for a recon element.
The Army doesn't really prepare you for injuries. They either prepare you for the soldier to come home or not to come home at all. They don't prepare you for the in-between. There's things that I do for him that is considered caregiving that to me is considered just loving him.
The day I got injured, she got wounded as well. And the veterans wouldn't be the men that we are and the women that we are today if it wasn't for our better half helping us every direction we go.
The Coalition to Salute America's Heroes helps severely wounded or disabled veterans just with basic needs such as emergency financial aid. For our family specifically, they tremendously helped us out with employment through their Heroes Thinking Heroes program.
Visit saluteheroes.org to learn more.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from Automotive News. Chevrolet is giving the Corvette all-wheel drive and a hybrid powertrain for the first time, but it's not quite ready to make the famed sports car fully electric. The Corvette E-Ray, available later this year as a 2024 model, will start at $104,295 for a coupe with removable roof and $111,295 for a hardtop convertible version, Chevrolet said on January 17th. All pricing includes shipping. The E-Ray will be the quickest Corvette yet, according to Chevy, capable of accelerating from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 2.5 seconds. That's 1/10 of a second faster than the track-ready Corvette Z06, which costs several $1,000s more. It features an E all-wheel drive system with a 160 horsepower electric motor over the front axle and a 495 horsepower 6.2-liter small block V8 powering the rear wheels for a combined 655 horsepower, making the E-Ray the Swiss Army knife of Corvette, said Bradford France, marketing director for Chevy Cars and Crossovers. It can perform in all weather conditions, France said. It's a bridge to the future, if you will, he says. This is just a fantastic opportunity for us to take this and push this Corvette brand somewhere it's never been before, he goes. General Motors, which is rolling out electric versions of several popular nameplates this year, has confirmed it's developing a fully battery-powered Corvette as well. Officials won't say when that car will arrive. We're certainly on the road to that, but in the meantime, we have a lot of technology bandwidth that we can still unpack with the Corvette, said Steve Majors, Chevrolet's marketing director. The E-Ray is 3.6 inches wider and about 200 pounds heavier than the standard Corvette Stingray. Its compact electric motor preserves space in the front storage compartment, Chevrolet said, while an active fuel management system can operate the V8 engine in 4-cylinder mode to boost efficiency. It channels the extra 160 horsepower and 125 pounds-feet of torque through the front wheels via a 1.9 kilowatt-hour battery pack located between the seats. Drivers can start the car in stealth mode to silently exit their neighborhood on battery power at up to 45 miles per hour. Chevrolet decided not to make the E-Ray a plug-in hybrid, instead designing it to recharge the battery mostly during coasting, braking, and normal driving. Plug-in hybrids are designed more for energy and range, said Mike Kutcher, lead development engineer for the Corvette. The mission of this vehicle was performance, performance, and performance. Something like Julia Child, butter, butter, butter. Every kilogram or pound and gram had to earn its way in from a mass standpoint. The E-Ray's battery pack is sourced from LG, though the development of the car predates GM's Ultium Cells joint venture with LG. GM will build a car at its Corvette assembly plant in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Can't wait. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
You budget. You pay bills.
Yet somehow women like you, like me,
Are 80% more likely than men to live in poverty in retirement.
So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to save ourselves by setting a goal to save 2% more of our income for our retirement.
Why 2?
1% honors you.
And 1% honors all womankind.
So come on.
Learn more about the 2% challenge at WeSaySaveIt.org.
There are those who dedicate themselves to a sense of honor, to a life of courage, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. They have always defended this nation and each other. They still do. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Back with you on Oxford Sports. Oh yes, winter sports has kicked off and we're out there covering a lot of this. When the Ferndale knocked off the top-seeded Waterford Kettering, I'm talking bowling here, the first round bracket play at the 18th annual Oakland County Boys Bowling Tournament on Sunday. Coach J.R. Laffner was the first over there to give high fives for several reasons. First, he knows a good story. The Scrappy Eagles, who've been in the final team to qualify for the bracket play, edging Waterford Mott by 9 pins and making the cut. Despite missing their coach due to illness, we're able to still capture that. Secondly, it certainly didn't hurt his Wildcat chances of winning another title, which they eventually did. Mostly it was because he had been there. Laffner was wishing the Eagles luck right up until the finals when they took on the Oxford Wildcats. Laffner said his fist bumps were saved for his own team when the Wildcats jumped out to an early lead in the finals match with 3 strikes in the first 6 frames. After that, it was just a matter of grinding it out. Oxford knocked off Farmington round 1 at 200, 195, 164, and 209. Then needed a second game rally to pass North Farmington in the second round, 181, 201, 200, and 116. Then they went on to beat Holly at 231, 174, 211, and 158. Once again, congratulating the Oxford Boys bowling team, doing very well. Congratulations to JR as well. Varsity boys overcame a double-digit deficit to defeat Royal Oak, the Ravens, the other night. A great score of 58-51. Yes, we were there. Jake Champagne, he led the way with 28 points to put the Wildcats to a 3-0 in league play. Up next is Seaholm. Again, that'll be coming up on Friday. Hard fought in the trenches basketball. That's what we saw. That game is on our will be on our Facebook and school site, and soon you'll be able to see it here on OCTV. It was a great game to capture with Becky Manis. In girls basketball, in an impressive 10-1 record, they started at the beginning part of December. Oxford had only lost to the Southtown rival Lake Orion. The latest victory at Harper Woods saw them pick up a victory there against Harper Woods, 54-32. They take on North Farmington with an 11-1 record, and that game will be covered by OCTV. Again, well-matched teams. The girls basketball doing really well. We're happy to cover them as well. Boys in swim dive proves a 4-1 record right now with a 107-79 victory over West Bloomfield. Olin Charstrom continues a season-long tear he broke another pool record in the 100 backstroke and the time of 51.99. Again, we're going to be out there covering swimming next week. We urge you to come out to the natatorium, come out and watch the boys do their swim and dive. It's quite an entertaining thing as well for Oxford sports. Well, 1 won and 1 lost, and it was too bad that Oxford had to take it on the chin. Clarkson senior Aggie Anderson had his priorities all lined up. He went on to make his team make it a state and capture the individual state championship for himself on Wednesday night. They couldn't have scripted it any better, as the team knocked off their rival, and guess who that rival was? Yes, our own Oxford Wildcats. The final score there, 42-20. The cap-off unbeaten Oakland Activities Association red season and claimed the second straight league championship. It was also senior night. Anderson again picked up his 100th career victory by fall. Again, Clarkson defeated Oxford 42-20 to win the OAA red championship. Again, congratulating them. Again, Oxford's been very strong, but other competitors are getting strong as well. The Wolves beat Bloomfield Hills in the first match and then finished at 6-0 in division play. Once again, congratulating all our athletes in whatever sports you play. We'll be back with more. Dave Kenny's got another segment, I do believe, and I'll say goodbye. We'll do this all next. You're watching Oxford News This Week.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from New Scientist. The massive eruption of the Tongan volcano in January of 2022 has made it more likely that we will exceed 1.5 degrees Celsius of global warming within the next 5 years, but the effect will disappear by 2035. The chances of temporarily exceeding 1.5 degrees Celsius of global warming within the next 5 years have increased markedly due to the spectacular eruption of an underwater volcano in Tonga in January of 2022. The explosive Hunga Tonga Hunga Ha'apai event was the most powerful of the 21st century so far. Large eruptions are usually dominated by sulfur dioxide emissions, which cause climate cooling, but the Tonga one was very unusual because it released a lot of water vapor, a powerful greenhouse gas. Satellite measurements indicate that it increased the water vapor content of the stratosphere by 10 to 15%. This is expected to cause temporary global warming. Stuart Jenkins at the University of Oxford and his colleagues estimated how this extra water vapor would change the balance of incoming and outgoing energy in the atmosphere. They then simulated the resulting temperature anomaly until 2035 under 2 scenarios. One in which carbon emissions continue on their current trajectory and one with ambitious climate mitigation policies. They found that on the current emissions trajectory, the Tonga eruption will produce a small and short-lived warming effect, increasing the chance from 50 to 57% of at least one of the next 5 years reaching 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels for the first time. In the ambitious climate mitigation scenario, the chances of one of the next 5 years exceeding 1.5 degrees Celsius rises from 60 to 67%. That's because aerosol particles from human air pollution reflect radiation and currently help to slow the pace of warming. But ambitious mitigation policies cut emissions of all pollutants quickly, resulting in faster rates of warming in the short term. The 2015 Paris Agreement set a goal of limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Exceeding this in a coming year wouldn't mean we have failed to meet this objective, Jenkins points out. Whilst Tonga may increase our chances of seeing a 1.5 degrees Celsius year in the near term, it is a natural influence on the climate system and doesn't contribute to our measures of success or failure in the Paris Agreement, he says. The research also shows that the Tonga effect will have disappeared by 2035. This is a timely study and demonstrates that we can relatively quickly estimate the impact that a volcanic eruption will have on its surface temperature, says Anja Schmidt at the Ludwig Maximilian University in Munich, Germany. Even though most volcanic eruptions cool the Earth's surface, this study demonstrates that only rapid and rigorous reductions in anthropogenic emissions will substantially decrease the risk of exceeding very dangerous levels of warming. We can't rely on short-term cooling effect of most volcanoes to save us from the impact of global warming will have, as she says. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for kids, teens, or young adults. It's just not.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals and volatile organic compounds into your body.
And nicotine, the same highly addictive substance found in regular cigarettes.
Nicotine can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s,
affecting learning, memory, attention, and impulse control, and priming the brain for other addictions.
Vaping products also come in kid-friendly flavors that can make them appealing to youth.
And many kids also use other drugs, like marijuana, in vaping devices.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media,
many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping, because when you talk, they hear you.
Back with you on Oxford News this week. Time to say goodbye, but we should mention, I should have said it in the sports segment, that we are streaming through the school website, their YouTube page, the nights of games. So you might want to check that out when you can. We do have a link on our Facebook page. I know it's a lot of things you got to do, but you might, if you want to catch your athletes, if you're not able to attend, maybe somebody lives out of town, lives far away, you can find the link and then tap right in there. In fact, we did broadcast the Oxford the Oxford Royal Oak game the other night. It goes on the Oxford High School website. A few days later, we snag it off of there, put it on television, and then we also have it on our many platforms. But if you want to catch it live the night we're doing it, again, check out the link on our Oxford Community Television Facebook page. Hope you got it all, okay? We're going to be doing it all season. It's a long season of hoop, and it's really exciting. The ladies doing well, so are the guys. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do this with swimming, but we'll do our best, okay? Anyways, we thank the news gathering sources of the Oxford Leader, Oxford Township Facebook page. Photo credits go out to CJ Carnacchio and the Oxford Leader. OCTV can be viewed on Spectrum Charter Channel 191, Channel 99, and at the ATTUverse, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook. Folks can download that app. Watch OCTV programming. OCTV is also available for local groups for producing public service announcements. If you do have a show idea, want to volunteer, we do need volunteers. Give our office a call at 248-628-9658. Thanks to producer director today. That would be, of course, Dan Weiss, videographer Al Campbell, editor, I believe that's Marissa. Also want to thank Kyle Snage, he's in there as well. Program coordinator Dan Weiss, program director Connie Miller, and station manager Terry Stiles. For everyone here at OCTV, I'm Jim Hughes, hoping you have a safe week. I invite you back next time. And again, we will take a look at Oxford News this week.